Hello everybody, I hope you're alright and you've had a lovely day in the sunshine. Not too hot, kept a bit cool and drunk plenty of water, but enjoyed it nevertheless. I wonder if you can guess where I'm sitting today. I've got year 1 on the field doing a bit of maths and year 1 on the playground doing a bit of maths. But I wonder if you can guess exactly where I'm sitting. Anyway, so you might hear a bit of noise from those guys, so just ignore it. It might help with the atmosphere. Right, so we're on the last half of the last chapter. Here we go. I have been happy enough here in the Emerald City, the old man said. The people are kind, I've all I need, but it isn't easy every day to pretend to be someone you're not. And seeing Toto reminded me of my dear little diddle-dee-doo back home in Omaha and how dreadfully I miss him. And if I'm honest, I'm a bit fed up with these spells and witches and all this magic stuff, so I was thinking that sometimes the best ideas are the upside-down ideas. Don't you think? I was thinking last night. What comes down must go up. Upside down thinking, you see. My balloon and I came down here in the Emerald City, so maybe it could go up again with us in it. They keep the balloon in the Wizard of Oz Museum in the city. They repainted it after I arrived here, fixed it up. It's all in perfect working order. If we could leave today if we wanted to, just take it out into the square, light a fire under the balloon and fill it with hot air and away we go. You mean we could go home today? Cried Dorothy, dancing around the room in her red shoes. Do you hear that, Toto? Do you hear that? Well, I'd heard it, of course, but I could see the look on Tim Woodman's face, see the tears rolling down his cheeks. I could see Lion holding up his paws to his face and sobbing, and Scarecrow trying to comfort them both. Then Dorothy noticed too and ran over to them. Oh, please don't be sad, she cried. You could come with us to Kansas. I'm sure Aunt Em and Uncle Henry would like you to come with us, wouldn't they, Toto? Now that was a grand idea, I thought, so I told them, so I barked them so. We all would love to be together forever. But Scarecrow was shaking his head. No, he said, that's very kind of you, Dorothy, but I would rather go home to the land of the Munchkins where I come from. I liked it there. It's home for me. And I will go back to the land of the Yellow Winkies, said Tim Woodman. After all, they saved my life and painted me yellow, so now I don't rust even when I cry. And anyway, I like being yellow as the sun, like them. They will look after me and I will look after them. They told me to come back if ever I wanted to, and I've always wanted a place to belong. It'll be home for me. And I will stay here, Dorothy, said Lion, in this place where I found my courage, where I became who I am thanks to the great and terrible Wizard of Oz, or Mr. Ozymandias, whichever you are. I will be the only golden creature that lives here. I can hunt in the fields and forests round and about. Why would I ever want to live anywhere else? It'll be home for me. Better than that, Lion, my friend, said the old man excitedly. When we leave, I shall be able to tell them that the King of Beasts himself will be looking after them instead of me. And can I have green sausages every day? The Lion asked. You'll be king, replied the old man. You'll be able to have everything you want. That'll do then, said Lion. I'm happy. And all the people were happy too when they heard Lion would be staying on instead of the wizard. He'd been shut away in the palace all this time anyway. They hadn't seen much of him. But it wouldn't be true to say that Scarecrow and Tim Woodman and Lion were happy when the balloon was full of hot air and we were ready to leave. There were lots of tears. In fact, not from me or Scarecrow or Lion, because none of us could cry, but from Dorothy. Dorothy can cry for Kansas, and she did. And so did all the people too. And Tim Woodman, of course. The balloon was tugging at its ropes. The time came for hurried goodbyes. I got a prickly cuddle from Scarecrow, a clanking cuddle from Tim Woodman, and a huge lion hug from Lion. And a mouthful of mane, too. Dorothy stood up on tiptoe and kissed Tim Woodman on his forehead tenderly. I'm leaving you the kiss the Good Witch of the North gave me. It protected me and it'll protect you. Goodbye, dear friend. To Scarecrow, she said, I'm giving you my magic red shoes. They won't fit, but it doesn't matter. Keep them always so you won't forget us, Toto and me, and all our wonderful adventures together. I hope they will protect you as they've protected me. Goodbye, dear friend. Then she turned to Lion and put the golden cap on his head. If you ever need any help from those winged monkeys, put this on and wish. Remember, you have only 3 wishes, so don't waste any. They'll do as you command. Goodbye, my dear friend. Then to all of them she said, you make me think that friendship and kindness are the most important things in the whole world. They all nodded, but were too tearful to speak. Then the old man, Dorothy and I climbed inside the basket. Dorothy had her own basket still, of course, the one over her arm that she had carried all the time wherever she went, with Uncle Henry's hat still inside it. She was holding me close and I could see her eyes were filling with tears again. goodbye, dear friends, she cried. Be happy. I shall think of you often, dream of you every night. We'll meet again in our dreams. We'll always be best of friends. As the balloon rose slowly into the air, Dorothy was waving the old man too, and everyone down there below on the ground was waving back. The guardian with the green moustache was saluting us, and the tears were running down his face. Up and up we rose, leaving the Emerald City sparkling below us. We could see the yellow brick road winding its way through the green of the countryside, the road we knew so well, and when we were lost in the clouds. Excuse me, Ozzy, if I may call you that, Dorothy said after a while. I think we might have one small problem. We're up here and that's fine, but how do we know which way to go? How do we find our way back to Kansas? Well, I suppose we go wherever the wind takes us, said the old man. That's how I got here, after all. Isn't that what happens in life, Dorothy? It's what happens in balloons, just the same. And don't you worry, I'm just about the wizardest balloonist there ever was. I'll get you back to Kansas, you'll see. He looked down at me and smiled. I believed him. But I was not enjoying this at all. I had discovered, after looking over the side for too long, that I didn't have a head for heights. I guess you can't exactly get seasick in a balloon, but I reckon that's what being seasick feels like. Creep into a corner of the basket, curl up and go to sleep, I told myself. Pretend it isn't happening. No nightmare could be as bad as this. Dorothy was so excited, and she wouldn't come and lie down with me and cuddle me, no matter how much I whinnied and whimpered for her. So I sulked there on my own, and pretty soon I was asleep. Sulking often helps me get to sleep, I find. I woke up with a walloping bump and a crash. Hang on, the old man was shouting, but I couldn't hang on. Fortunately, Dorothy grabbed me just in time. Otherwise, I would have been thrown out of the basket altogether as it toppled over. You'd better get out, the old man was telling us. This balloon is dragging along pretty fast. I reckon she wants to take off again at any moment. Out you jump, Dorothy! So Dorothy jumped, clinging onto me as tightly as she could. We rolled over and over. Then we were lying there on our backs, all the breath bumped out of us, watching the balloon rising into the air above us and the old man waving. I hope you find diddle-dee-doo, Dorothy was shouting up at him. And I hope you find your home, cried the old man. I reckon this is Kansas by the look of it. Plenty of tumbleweed about. Trouble with Kansas is it's mighty big. We'll find it soon enough, Dorothy cried, waving back. And so we did too. Dorothy asked about, hitched a ride here and a ride there. Everyone was so friendly, just as friendly as anyone we had met in the land of Oz, and the food was a lot better. These folk understood what a dog likes to eat. And then after a week or so, we found ourselves walking up the track towards home, towards the farmhouse, which looked just about the same, but newer. The old one had blown away, if you remember. The cows were out grazing in the fields, the hens were all clucking about the yard, and the wind was blowing wild all across the plains, and there was plenty of tumbleweed rolling about and chasing itself. We were home, sure enough, and there was Uncle Henry ploughing a field and Aunt Em hanging up the washing line. Then both saw us at about the same time. At first they couldn't believe their eyes. Then they came running as fast as their legs could carry them. Dorothy, Toto, where have you been? Aunt Em cried. So Dorothy told them and went on telling them, but they wouldn't believe her. And they still don't believe her now, all these years later. People folk are like that, my little puppies. Haven't got no imagination, you see. That's their problem. Anyways, Dorothy and I got home safe and sound, and boy, were they glad to see us. Aunt Em gave us a good scolding for going off like we had and scaring the living daylights out of her, and Uncle Henry was happy because he'd got his hat back. None of it would have happened, of course, if the twister hadn't come and blown away his hat, and none of it would have happened if I hadn't chased after it and brought it home. And that's the doggone truth. And then this is the last part. It's called the epilogue. Well, that's my story done. That was how Papa Toto would always end his tale. All the other little puppies were snoozing away, lost in their own dreams. You asleep too, Tiny Toto? Papa Toto said. That's good. I'm fairly tired out myself with all this storytelling. Still, it did its job. You lot got to go to sleep. So now I'm going to have a bit of a sleep myself. I think I deserve it. But I wasn't asleep, not really. I just had my eyes closed, that's all. I never once went to sleep during Papa Toto's tale, which is why I know it so well, I guess. I only ever went to sleep when he did, my head resting on his heart, so I could feel us breathing together. I always loved that. That's it. Well, I've enjoyed that. I hope you've enjoyed it. A familiar story that we know so well, but told in a different way. Okay, so tomorrow will be the brand new story. Tune in to find out what it is. Okay, have a great rest of your day. Bye.